Hello. Last week we learned a 绝句 by the great poet Du Fu, which showed us a lovely and vivid spring scene on a cozy late afternoon. In fact, on this occasion, he wrote two such poems, and collectively we call them 绝句二首. This was a very common practice, where a poet wrote a number of poems at the same time and couldn't be bothered to give individual titles, so just call the whole thing a single name, such as 绝句. And then marking how many pieces there are. Today we are going to look at the second of the two. Here, 其二 simply means this is the second poem. 绝句二首，其二，唐·杜甫。江碧鸟逾白，山青花欲燃。今春看又过，何日是归年？ This poem opens with more descriptions of the scenic sights, which is continuation of what's written in the first one. If you look at the first poem carefully, you'll notice that while it reads like a beautiful painting with many details, something very important to the visual is missing. Can you see what it is? It's the colors. There is not a single mention of any colors in this poem. Now, this is understandable because for the format of the poem, the space is extremely limited, and the poet could only choose to pick words which he feels are the most essential and relevant. Or maybe it is the poet's intention not to use any colors, so the outlines of what he wants to show will stand out more. Anyway, in the second poem, Du Fu adds the colors. 碧 means green, as we say 碧绿, and this 白 means white. So 江碧 means the big river is green. And what's this 鱼? 鱼 means more, 更加. This first line means, with the river green, in contrast, the flying birds, 鸟, seem even more white to the eyes. Again, because here there are only 5 characters available, the poet can only put down, very concisely, the most key elements, leaving all the details to the reader's imagination. But it is not difficult to understand what Du Fu was saying. Birds on the river have to be the flying birds, and they must be white in color. And if you compare when you see them flying against the background of sky, whatever the sky's color is, or against the dark green water, of course the white color will appear more prominent against the green water. That's why the poet said, 鸟逾白. And then 山青. 青, depending on the context, can be either green or blue, or a mix of the two. 玉 means going to, about to. And 燃, with its 火 radical, means fire burning, which implies it is red flowers the poet is talking about. So this line means, the mountains are green and lush, the red flowers are so vibrant and bright, they almost seem to be burning. Now with these colors added in, this painting of the spring is getting more and more visually intense. It's bright, colorful, and splendid, sending out all the signals of happiness and a positive mood. However, all of a sudden, and totally out of the blue, the mood completely turned. 今春看又过. 今 is today. 今日. 过 means gone past. So this spring, 春, while so beautiful as I am looking at it, will pass again. And 何日是 归年。和 is which. 日 here means day, as in 日子今日。归 means to return. And 年 is year. So the poet is asking, which day or when is a year for me to return? I.e., when can I return home? Oh, so this is the essence of these two poems. It's not just about the beauty of the spring after all. 杜甫, in his prime years, lived in a time of a series of devastating civil wars when he was forced to move from place to place just to keep the most basic living. At the time he wrote these two poems, he was living in Chengdu in southwest China after many years of difficult travel, and he was ever so anxious to go back to his hometown. So in these two 绝句, the poet spent as many as 6 lines on something bright and joyful to such extent, only to show, in huge contrast, the profound sadness and helplessness he was feeling. As in many other art forms, such as music or painting, contrast is what makes the subject matter stand out and more interesting. Here, by using contrast, 杜甫 has made the message he wanted to convey more clear and striking. After all, the desire for going back home while in a foreign land is such a universal feeling. It can very easily and naturally find empathy with the readers. And even more remarkable on an otherwise happy and jolly occasion. In this sense, this poem is very much like Li Bai's 静夜思, when he also showed his true sentiment, which is 思故乡, only after writing about the beautiful moon. That's all for today. Hope you enjoy this and see you next week.